2025 session. Invocation of Mr. Brian Allen, pastor of United Union Christian Church, Finished.
Thank you, Board of Supervisors, for having me here to open you up. Thank you very much. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you and praise you tonight. Father, we thank you for your grace and mercy that you pour out on us on a daily basis. Father, I ask you, Father, God, tonight that you would be in the hearts and minds of the leadership that's here tonight, Father God, that you would instruct them and guide them, Father God, for the betterment of our county and our citizens. Lord, we pray, Father God, that your presence be here tonight, Father. For we know, Father God, that if you're in our heart, your word tells us where 2 or 3 are gathered together, there you are also. Father, we give this service to you. We give this meeting to you, Father God. We just love you and praise you tonight. And I just ask you, Father God, to be here in their midst as they conduct business for the betterment of our county. In the name of Jesus we pray. And everyone said, Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public hearings. Lee County Board of Supervisors conducted a public hearing on Tuesday, August the 19th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the General District Courtroom, Lee County Courthouse in Jones. The solicited public input on the proposed community development block grant proposal to be submitted to Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development, the Western Lee Housing Production Project. The proposed project will involve the installation of required infrastructure for housing development in the western section of Lee County. All interested citizens are encouraged to attend. The draft community development block grant proposal or fact sheet will be presented for comment along with information on projected beneficiaries, including the number of low to moderate income residents to benefit from the proposed project, and plans to minimize displacement. Citizens will also be given an opportunity to comment on Lee County's past use of community development block grant funds. A fact sheet on the project will also be available at Linda Wisco Planning District, Duffield, Virginia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How's that sound? Better?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jimmy Atkins, Linda Wisco Planning District, Director of Planning. Here tonight, about once a year, come for you for a resolution of support, public hearing for a community development block grant application. Like was mentioned tonight, it's on the Western Lee Housing Production Project. I believe you have should have 2 sheets of paper in your board package. One is the info sheet that I do have, and I have extra copies if anyone came for this public hearing specifically that would like that info sheet, just let me know. Or if you'd like to comment, have you come up here, got a sign-in sheet for that as well. The second page is the resolution of support that you all will be able to consider for your all support, favorable support to apply. This project, read a couple sections out of here. Funding sought to aid the infrastructure enhancements to support the initial development activities of the Western Lee Housing Project to serve residents in rural and distressed Lee County, including the county's significant LMI population, as well as potential students, faculty, and staff of Lincoln Memorial University's DeBusk Veterinary Teaching Center. This proposed mixed-use development project located at 5692 Wilderness Road there in Ewing, 5 miles southwest of the vet school campus. The project will support the installation of approximately 6,610 linear feet of new water lines, 6,476 linear feet of new sanitary sewer lines, and the construction of approximately 37,584 square foot of roadway. Connections-wise, it is anticipated the way it's currently drawn up to be about 118 connections. That would be 118 units in various structures. Those are single dwellings, duplexes, triplexes, townhouses. There is, like I said, it's a mixed use development project. So this application is going to be was going to be applied for up to $2 million. That is the cap for this type of project for housing production. This would be the first housing production application to come out of the WISCO ever. So we do feel pretty favorable on this, the way it's presented. The application would go in by Tuesday of next week if we can vote favorably to support applying for it. I'd be happy to answer, or at least try to answer any questions you or the public may have tonight.
Any questions?
I guess a big question to me is when that first shovel's gonna.
That's a really good question. So with a project like this, I'm going to give a very generic, non-promised timeline. We apply for these funds in August. If we are lucky, we get a favorable award maybe by the end of the calendar year. It would take 3 to 4 months maybe for Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development to get under contract or to start issuing the contract. There's 120 days to get under contract during that period. So you're already looking at almost a year from now. In that time frame, if awarded, the environmental review process would start for NEPA clearance. That, for this size project, could take probably about 6 months. So we may be 18 months away from something.
So is bids gonna be taken in during all this other stuff going on too?
No, not until we actually, bids won't be out there until we actually get the design work and environmental review clearance done, because we won't know for sure what to bid yet. There's been a feasibility study, a master plan, and a strategic analysis documents all done for this development. And those linear foots and square yardages I mentioned earlier as deliverables, those are just basically clearing a piece of property and laying it out and thinking of where lines are going to go. So that's still, topography-wise, can still change. But at the glacial speed of some government funds, this would be expedited as much as we could, because it's such a needed and heavy impact project.
So 18 months plus then taking time to get bids in.
Yeah.
Plus.
And there'll be different types of bids. There'll be different, there'll be water and sewer lines bid out. They'll be separate from the roadwork construction. There is a significant portion of this, over 90%, that would more than likely be private funding that would actually do the building structure development. So looking for public dollars, grant funding, optimistically less than 10% of the project.
Anyone else here to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll close the hearing.
Thank you.
If you want.
I'll make a motion to support resolution 25-013.
Second.
Got a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right. Second public hearing, Lee County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the General District Courtroom, Lee County Courthouse located in Johnson, Virginia, to solicit input on a special use permit. Jacqueline Bush has applied for a special use permit to allow a child care center in an A-1 agricultural district. Property is located in Johnville community. It consists of plus or minus 2.662 acres. Property is located at 588 3rd Street. Tax parcel number 538-3-DR78.
Good evening. Ms. Bush has requested the special use to allow this. This is actually at her residence. But as far as the process for building, it would be done at the residence. The classification through the state's family day home, which is, it allows the home to stay as an R5, which is the building code. She doesn't really have to do anything through our office. to update anything else. The state has inspected the property and she's passed everything, all the hoops that she had to jump through with the state for licensing. The last step would be getting a special use permit to allow it. The planning commission did vote unanimously to approve. To recommend approval.
Thank you. You wish to speak?
Preferably not. I don't think
Anyone else here to speak on this matter? Seeing none coming forward, we'll close it here.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Lee County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the district courtroom, Lee County Courthouse located in Johnville, Virginia, to solicit input on special use permit request. Lee County Board of Supervisors have applied for a special use permit to allow a refuse collection center in an A1 agricultural district. The property is located in the Dryden community and consists of plus or minus 3.5 acres. The property is located on the east of Big Hill Road at the intersection of Veteran Memorial Highway and Big Hill Road. Tax parcel number 24-A-74.
The refuse collection center is allowed under the special use permit. As you know, this is your request. Mr. Wright spoke to the planning commission as far as some of the reasoning behind this and what was needed. They voted unanimously to recommend approval.
Anyone here to speak on this request?
Does the county own the property where they're moving it to, or are they leasing it from somebody?
We will own this property.
Okay.
It actually has a return to where it'll start saving the county money. It's several years down the road, so it's an expense at this point, but in the long game, it'll end up saving taxpayer dollars.
As long as y'all own it.
Would you state your name for the record?
Chad Still.
Thank you. Anybody else? Close the hearing.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Lee County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in General District Courtroom, the Lee County Courthouse located in Johnville, Virginia, to solicit input on the rezoning request. White Rocks Rentals has applied to rezone property that is currently zoned both R1 Single Family Residential District and A1 Agricultural District to A1 Agricultural District only. Property consists of plus or minus 28.32 acres of land and is located in Ewing Community, east of Sand Cave Road, tax parcel number 638-22-TR3, 4, and 5.
This request is to get all the property owned under one zoning district. Right now it is a split zone. Probably 3/4 of the property is A1. There's a portion on the west end of the butts towards Sand Cave Road that is R1. Generally speaking, with a rezoning request, the intent does not have to be put forward. Within the planning commission, within our meeting, there's a lot of concern from neighboring property owners that this was going to be something that would turn into an RV campground or something of that nature. And Mr. Osborne, that represents White Rock Rentals, stated that, he is looking to build some duplexes, which are not allowed in the R1. They would be allowed under the A1 zoning to provide housing for the western end. That's his intent with the property. After some discussion, the planning commission did vote to unanimously recommend approval of the rezoning.
Anyone here to speak on this? See no one come forward.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Lee County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the General District Courtroom, Lee County Courthouse located in Jonesville, Virginia, to solicit input on the following zoning text amendments. 1, tourist homes. 2, sawmill special use to allow cutting trees grown off premises. 3, campground and camping unit campsites.
Each of these zoning text amendments are some things that the planning commission's been working on for several months. Ms. Muncy and I have discussed the definition for a tourist home, and as it stood a couple of years ago, the previous board had made the move to allow tourist homes in all districts with the exception of the industrial. So the definition that we had for that was more in line with a hotel instead of we're trying to more or less modernize our zoning ordinance to where a lot of people have VRBO, Airbnb type rentals. So the new definitions to align more with what we're seeing currently is what we were considering a tourist home, but our definition and ordinance not really matching and stuff. But that changed from a couple of years ago. The sawmills, as I don't know if all of you will remember, we had a request several months ago, probably over a year ago, for a permanent sawmill. The property was zoned A1. The only zoning district currently in our ordinance that allows for a permanent sawmill is the M1. In the A1, a temporary sawmill, but you can only cut the timber from that property, is allowed. But what we're looking at doing is making it, because it was some of the discussion back when we had that rezoning request, some of the planning commission discussion was to look at doing this text amendment, make it a special use in the A1. That way the board still has final say. It's not something that's just allowed outright, but it would make it an option. With most of the county, probably 95% of the county is zoned A1. So this would open that up as a potential special use. One of the stipulations we placed in the zoning would be 100-foot setbacks, which matches the setbacks in the M1. Typically with the A1, it's 30-foot front and rear and 10-foot on the sides. We felt by extending that to 100-foot under this special use would help protect neighboring property owners. And then campgrounds was something Mr. Mealy had talked to the planning commission about a lot, and I'd say don't want to speak on this a little bit. But it's something we've worked on to, as the ordinance currently stands, we have a special use for an RV park, but not a campground. So in his case, he's running a RV park as the special use permit for that. But it does not allow for other sort of camping units, whether it's yurts, cabins, things of this nature. So we looked at actually amending 3 different articles for this. We'd be amending Article 4 to allow a campground as a special use in the A1. We'd have to add definitions in Article 11, which those definitions are taken directly from Code of Virginia and match also the health department regulations for those. And then created a subsection in Article 5 to get into all the different requirements. What we've done in that is we set a density as far as how many units per acre, the setbacks from those. There's other requirements. The final thing that was the most discussion within our meeting was occupancy. We don't want to see a campground turn into permanent occupancy. And that's something the planning commission was concerned with if we go this route. So when I was doing my research to take to the planning commission, I was looking at other ordinances trying to see what other counties have done with this. Scott County had adopted a campground amendment back in 2022. They recommended no more than 180 days in a 12-month period. The planning commission ended up going with 30 days, 30 consecutive days. After that, should be considered permanent occupancy. I know there's some discussion, but ultimately the planning commission was adamant that was their decision to go with 30 consecutive days, no longer. And that was what they sent on to you as far as that's their recommendation. They did vote unanimously to send each of these amendments to you.
Thank you. Anyone here to speak on these?
Good evening, my name is John Mealy. I believe my wife and I are the only ones that have a private campground in Lee County, with the exception of one up here in Jonesville now. So I believe there's 2 of us that have private campground. So we'd be the ones that would be affected by this. As Clint mentioned, I brought this up to the Planning Commission to try to make sure that the county zoning ordinance matched both department's code, so that if you're applying essentially for the same thing, just one's for a permit and one's for special use. Everything on there, again, is as the code is, except for that 30-day restriction. When we started calling around, Pennington Gap has a 90-day restriction. Big Stone Gap has no length of stay, and then as Clint mentioned, Scott County has 180 days. And then the surrounding counties, once you get to Kentucky and Tennessee, we weren't able to find any restrictions on that. So where we run into the problem with that is a lot of folks that have come out there that are looking for that longer stay are people that are relocating to the area. They're maybe building a house, or they're looking for places, and they're looking for that 60, 90, I don't think we've had anybody that are past 180 days. So that's where I run into the problem is, if we have somebody call and say, hey, we want to make a reservation, then if I tell them, no, I can't do more than 30 days, they're going to go to one of the surrounding counties. So we're taking business that should be done here in Lake County, we're sending them to the surrounding areas. One of the other topics that came up was the concern for basically creating a residential style campground like you've got out on the lakes when you get into Tennessee. One of the concerns was the way the county, or I'm sorry, the state code is written is that you can have up to 20 campers or campsites per acre, and that's crammed in there. So one recommendation, if there was a change to be made to limit that, we could drop that down to say maybe 10 per acre to again prevent that from where you go into one of these places where it's just camper after camper after camper. The way that these changes are being recommended, we would still be a RV park, so I would have to come back and just reapply for a campground special use permit. And on an RV park, there actually is no restrictions on 30-day. But again, I run into the issue of follow the ordinance for a yurt, cabin, a tent site, I have to have a campground special use permit. So, got any questions for me?
Do you have water and sewer?
We have water, we have a dump station, we're working on the sewer.
So you're coming to us and asking to get that up to 180 days instead of the 30 days?
That would be my preference, would be 180. That would keep us, at least within the Virginia counties, that would keep us in line with the most on that. In Big Stone Gap, they didn't have a time frame, and then Scott County was the 180.
The concern from the planning commission was they wanted to stick with 30 consecutive days due to, in their mind, transient occupancy. The way Scott County's is 180 days in any 12-month period, not 180 consecutive days. Which part of the onus with the way this is written places the responsibility back to the owner to keep record, which it would be up to them to the county to essentially audit the part if we're going to actually check and try to catch someone in violation of that. But that was the debate we had in the hearing.
I do know Pennington, I think, run into that trouble with somebody just because actually it was really cheap to stay out there, water and everything. And I think that they run into a problem or having to really forcefully get somebody out. I can see no point myself in the 30 days. I think it would need to be 180, what I would know, but.
I'll say the other part to that is if somebody's coming in here with an RV, they're not looking to rent a house. They're not looking to go stay in a hotel. Yeah, they're coming in with the intent of staying in the vehicle that they already own, so they're looking for a campground. If somebody is looking for a hotel, from what I've been able to find, there is no restriction on that. If they stay in a hotel and they've got a longer stay, they'd be allowed to stay there. And that's what I've been able to find. So.
Clint, was there any mention of any possibility of some that being accepted just for that case if somebody was building a home or something like that?
If we go with the zoning text amendment as written, I don't think it really leaves any room. Of course, I think there's always discretion left to the administrator and to the county attorney on how hard we push something or if we give grace. But again, if the ordinance is written that way, I would think we need to enforce what we put on the books, whichever way you all.
You of all people would know for a fact if they're building or not.
Yes.
So there'd be no way around it as far as,
Could you make would there be a way to put verbiage in there that said, this is what it is with the exception of there is an active building permit?
You know, the Board of Supervisors, correct me if I'm wrong, this month, they have the ability to change and adopt these zoning text amendments if they want to add something to it. I will tell you, if you send it back to the planning commission was pretty adamant
Yes.
about the 30 days.
Yeah.
So if you all if you want to make that change, I feel that's something you would need to do.
And I will say also, it's not just the folks moving into the area, but also we've had a travel nurse stay with us for 4 months. We've had students ask while they're looking for housing, where they've got an RV. So we've had different requests come from, different areas looking for that longer stay. We're not wanting folks to move in and be permanent residents. I think the concern was not necessarily my campground, but if somebody else was to buy property and say, we want to establish a campground to prevent that from being a residential campground. One comment was made, and I don't know if it was during the meeting or after, but you can go to State Park, stay in this site for 15 days, and then move over to another site and change to 15 days. One comment was made, well, you can just change the site numbers. Again, if you're passing this ordinance, this is what the law is supposed to be on that.
Yes.
I'm trying to follow the rules and do it the right way, so.
Anyone else here to speak on this?
Discussing this all, man, about that, so.
Well, three different things.
We skipped over E.
That's what I thought. We need to take action on the plans call.
Yeah, we're blaming on Rick. Let's finish F and then go back to E.
Okay.
Good with that?
Sure. Myself personally, I like to table it and talk to the planning commission. I haven't talked to anybody about it, just to be honest with you. There's been a whole lot of other big fish, pan to fry. If we can't, we'll vote on it.
But you can table it. That's not a problem to table it. It would give the opportunity to look to see if there's any kind of verbiage that could be put in that would, you could keep this and keep it in the spirit that it was written in for the planning commission,
Right.
but add the verbiage in there for maybe they could apply for an exception to this rule with the building inspector's office or the administrator's office or whatever, and then we could do a variance of some kind, however that verbiage would need to be written, but it would be a specific use, maybe, I don't know, but I think it would be perfectly okay to table that, to get that done, which would serve the planning commission's idea and the public that way.
I'll second his motion.
Got a motion and a second to table that. All in favor?
I guess so.
Opposed? All right, let's go back to E then. Lee County Board of Supervisors hold a public hearing Tuesday, August the 19th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the District Courtroom, Lee County Courthouse, located in Johnson, Virginia, to solicit input on special use permit. Christopher Hayton has applied for a special use permit to allow stables operated for commercial use in an A1 agricultural district. The property consists of plus or minus 20.79 acres of land and is located in Union Community adjacent to 227 Berlin Hensley Drive. Tax parcel number 80-A-628, 627F, and 62F and 62G.
Again, this is a use that would be required to have a special use permit. Mr. Hayton bought this property, there's an existing stable there. He's just asking to use it for commercial use. The planning commission had very little discussion, voted to recommend unanimously to recommend approval.
So you sell logs? What are you selling?
This is for commercial stables.
The board horses.
I got you, Board North. Board North,
It's my neighbor, that's why I'm asking. I'll make a motion to approve.
Wait a minute.
Right.
Anybody else here to speak on that?
I thought the stables would be in agriculture, on agricultural land. Wouldn't that be considered agriculture?
It's commercial state.
For residential use, it would be allowed.
Back and that's commercial, that's still agriculture.
Would you, if you want to speak, would you step to the mic?
Well, that's all I wanted to say.
Well, what was your name, sir?
Ben Richmond.
We had a motion, we have a second.
I'll see.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's all the public here. Marcus reports, everybody good with those?
So, treasurer's report, do we have one this month?
We do not.
Can we move on? Public expression.
Should I make would it be possible, we've got a visitor and a delegation here with the Kentucky National Land Trust, who's from Corbin, which is a couple hours away. Since we're in the public expression real quick, could we move him up so that maybe he could maybe start back toward home? Would that be possible? I mean, I could just ask him for his behalf.
Yeah, I've got no problem with that.
I would, yeah, I need you to vote to amend, or adjust, amend the agenda to move that, if you don't care.
Make a motion to amend the agenda so we can get this gentleman here.
Second. A motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good evening. Thank you for letting me come speak tonight on behalf of KNLT. KNLT is Kentucky Natural Lands Trust. It's an entity in Title 1C3 entity in Kentucky. It's been in existence for about 30 years. They help conserve and protect natural land, and they've done approximately 50,000 acres so far in Kentucky. The reason we're here tonight is I think last month you all had something on your agenda. A parcel of land was bequeathed to KNLT here in Virginia, in particular Lee County, and we're trying to get nonprofit status for this county for the purposes of holding the land. Of note, a few things that they do is they mainly focus on enhancing the habitat and wildlife, so they do a bunch of different projects with endangered species. In particular, if you want to get on the website, there's some verbiage on particular bat funds and some of the things that they do there. They've also done some other conservation, studies and impacts to help with the flora and fauna. They've also done some community involvement, i.e. Trails and allowing public use for the land. And if I'm not mistaken, in particular, I'm looking at section 58.1-3606, which section 16, or in particular, that relates to allowing for nonprofit status for the purposes of lands. And this month, you can probably attest to that if necessary, that's what the statute is. So we're requesting nonprofit status. However, we do like to say that we've done this in approximately 16 different counties in Kentucky. And some of those counties, we still want to be involved in the public and we want to help. So we are offering a donation in lieu of taxes. We just don't want to have the precedent of being required to pay real estate taxes in every time they own land. So in this particular instance, the tax bill is, I think, $76-ish a year. They're offering to make a donation of $100 a year just to maintain that nonprofit status in this. And if an agreement is requested, that's something they're willing to do as long as they're holding the land here in Lee County. And if there's any questions about this particular tract of land, I'm more than willing to assist. Or other questions.
Where is this tract of land?
This particular parcel, I want to say, is on the mountain on the northern part of the county, bordering, I want to say Kentucky, but I could be a little off on that. But I can It may have the particular parcel.
It's,
Is it over to Kill?
no, it's kind of more, Lord, and I've lost it. Buckets Creek. Up that side of the mountain that goes over into Kentucky, if you kind of go back up in Buckets Creek, Elitch Creek, back up that road, there where that church is, it kind of back up in there.
Does it border the Kentucky side? Is that what you're saying?
I think there's a parcel of land in between it, in between this particular parcel and Kentucky. So I think there's one little parcel in between. I want to say I'm going to say 100-ish acres that's in between, but this land was just donated and they didn't go out and actively seek it. I'm saying they didn't go out soliciting this property. It was a gift from someone. So that's why they now have the land.
So you're asking for it to be,
I'm asking for
Turned
county to have
nonprofit.
nonprofit status here in the county. And they're saying, hey, we're willing to offer a donation in lieu of taxes. They just don't want the precedent of having to pay real estate taxes for every county.
ain't nobody in here wants to pay real estate.
But they are a 501c3, which does have nonprofit status. And section 58.1-3606 of the Virginia Code does allow for that exemption in that circumstance, if it's being done for public use or bettering the community, which in this case, I would say that it would classify under improving flora, fauna, endangered species, as well as they do community involvement such as hiking trails or parks. In particular, I want to say it's section 6 of that citation that does say in particular, parks is held in a trust. And KNOT is a trust, and it's in their name.
What's the benefit to your outfit to get it in a nonprofit and then pass us 25% more than what our taxes are starting?
Precedent. So they don't want to have that precedent, so they're actively in 16 other counties. So if they're having to pay taxes in one county, then they're going to have an issue of every county and say, hey, we want you to pay taxes or have an issue. We're not wanting to have a lawsuit. We want to be a good neighbor and say, look, this is negligible amount. So for them, it's better than having to pull with a lawsuit and trying to go and say, we want to maintain our nonprofit status. If we have an issue in one county, we don't want it to arise in another. Now, you say, hey, we don't need a donation in lieu of taxes, well, then we'll say, great. But they're just trying to offer that as a means of moving forward and not having to fool with like litigation or fees on that end.
Is that
100 acres of land, tax-free is, I don't care where it's at.
So,
Correct me if I'm wrong, you're not saying what was donated to you is 100 acres, you're saying the parcel in between you and Kentucky is the 100 acres?
Correct.
Approximately how large is?
I want to say it's 35 to 40-ish, but I can get the exact citation if you need it.
I just want to make sure that I.
Yeah, you're in the ballpark.
Yeah, it's not 100 acre. I think the 100 acre parcel is between them and the border.
And you all don't have any property that joins this property you're talking about?
No. But
So you don't want to pay taxes, but you want to pay more for it, just to get the 501c3s in a place that's got private property around, no one can access really.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there's actually a trail that runs through and the neighbors discussing opening that up to the public. So in theory, it might be a trail that eventually runs to the ridge and runs across. But this parcel was donated in December of 2024.
So you're willing to pay more, but if you don't get the 501c3 status, you're going to take litigation against the county because you're going to.
Potentially they may. I'm saying they're looking at it from a holistic perspective. They have 50,000 acres under their name that they've been involved with.
30 acres in the middle of nowhere.
And that's the issue they've got.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Well, if you run into, if they're being taxed on this 35, they don't want another county to say, hey, we know that they're being taxed here, we're going to tax you here. And if they've got a 5,000 acre parcel, all of a sudden get taxed, that's an issue for them because that means they can't continue conserving and enhancing that.
So they want to conserve dirt and leaves and stuff like that, and they're willing to go to court for this?
Pretty much.
So, but you're willing to give us 25% more than what the tax base is. How many years are they willing to do that for?
Perpetuity.
I think for me, it's a no vote. I don't want nothing to do with you guys. And another thing, there is enough land has been gobbled up here in Lee County by the Conservancy that we're getting no tax money on. And I think you're just trying to, you've got a little bait there that you're trying to reel out here to try to bail you out of these other counties. So maybe we'll just charge you taxes, and then these other counties, maybe they'll wake up and they'll.
Well, there's no other counties in Virginia. It's all.
But you said the other counties in Kentucky wasn't paying well.
Correct. By statute, they don't have to there, but they just don't want the precedent. And I think by statute, they don't have to here.
It's a no vote for me. I don't know about the other four.
Is most of this land in Kentucky?
Yes, 49,935 acres.
I can't picture the state of Kentucky letting 49,000 acres go untaxed.
It is, because a lot of it's for public use. So it's like parks, so if you have a national park or hiking trails, things like that, that typically isn't taxed in any location.
Typically.
I can't name an instance where it is.
I venture to say that it is taxed in some way.
Actually, in Kentucky, they are. That's fine.
They are?
They are not in Kentucky, yeah. Because it's mainly, it's public use, so if they put hiking trails or anything like that, it's considered public use.
What percentage of the county is under that, in our county, just like what Mr. Waddell said, is nature conservatory?
I think 1%.
It's probably about
1% of Lee County gets no tax from the nature conservatory. Correct.
Well,
So,
If anybody that wants to speak, please come to the podium and state your name.
It's getting out of control with everybody talking out there, so you need to address it just like he addressed it. If you got some question about it, come to the podium and say something about it. Not out there. It's chaos out there.
Good evening again, John Mealy. Part of what they've been doing on the Kentucky side is where the Pine Mountain Trail that goes from Breaks Interstate Park down to Pineville and then eventually over to Cumberland Gap. They've been acquiring land that is on that mountain range and then donating portions of that to the Pine Mountain Trail Association essentially. So most of the land that they are getting are, get mountain pieces, but they are actively supporting these trail systems and working toward that. There's been a few pieces in different counties in Virginia that have been brought up to them in the past saying, again, this could potentially be for public use. So it is an avenue that helps out the nonprofits and the outdoor recreation stuff.
Any other discussion?
I say not to keep paying taxes on it, they want to sue us, they'll sue us.
second. I think that's a motion.
Make a motion. I'll entertain that. I mean, you could take no action at all. Yeah, that's the motion, just don't take it from way.
No action
Well,
taken?
well, hang on, was that a motion? Because if it was, then you have to act on it. Something where it has to die for the lack of a second, but Roger seconded it, so.
No, I just said if that was a motion.
So was that a motion? This is just a point of order. is all.
So they're paying taxes on that property now?
They have not paid yet. They just acquired it in the past 6 months.
Correct.
It's been held this year for this determination to be
Did they
made.
get a tax bill made?
They did, so it's
So
been held in
really-
abeyance
So really, then
until,
there's no motion there, they're already getting billed for. So,
well, it's held in abeyance until the resolution comes through you all.
I'll just rescind my motion, we'll just let it die like that.
No good with that?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Public expression.
I'm Debbie Darker, I'm from Keokee.
Got the clock right.
I would like to know if the board knew about the state investigation on the school investment issue on the night that you voted on the budget.
I was not aware of it.
Anyone else?
No, it's aware of it.
Okay. Then you can rescind the budget according to Virginia Code 15.2.2507. Anytime there's a lack of transparency, which I feel like there was a great deal of that night, you can rescind, and the agreement can be put into violation of this code and can be declared voided. Acceptance of the funds by anyone can be subject to forfeiture and civil penalties, according to the information that I have received. The board also has the authority to request amendments to our county policies and make amendments as needed. And I think that needs to be done, especially taking elderly and those on fixed incomes into consideration. The board also has the authority to withdraw allocated funds through a budget amendment process. We all know Lee County is not a wealthy county. We need things other than more teachers, more people in the central office, buying new trucks for a school system that's already out of control. And a school system that can't keep up with the tax money we've already handed them. The 5 of you represent the entire county, not just your district. You represent all the people, and you should take all the people into consideration. If you choose to not rescind and to place this on your information for further examination, I feel like the 3 of you that voted for tax increase and to hand the school system $7.1 million should resign tonight. And just let the people have some peace and let them pay their tax the way they can and be satisfied with what we've got. We pay for our properties, we pay our tax, and there's nothing else for Lee County here unless you work for the school system, and we should have a right to say where that money goes. So please, consider rescinding this and just allow everyone in this county to be able to pay their taxes. We're not in a position in this county to hand money out to a system that's not under control and cannot maintain their own finances now. Thank you.
Anyone else? No more?
Mr. Chair.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Tim Barnador. I represent School Board District 1. Ma'am, I hear your concern, and I've heard a lot of concerns, and I know people in my district, people in all of your districts want answers about what is going on around the theft of money that took place. And anyone who has been in any type of investigation or any type of legal process, we all know that you cannot say anything while the investigation is ongoing. Now, being said that, I have beat myself up since last Thursday for not saying this, what I'm saying to you, since then. I know everyone wants answers. I want to be able to freely give answers, but I also want for the individual that did this, I want them to go to prison for a long time. And I don't want to say or do anything to get in the way of that.
And with us putting out information, with us going off the rails and saying this, that, and the other, all that does, and Ms. Muncy, I think you can agree with that, all that does is impede the investigation and gives the defendant more ground to stand on that we don't need. I want the individual that did this to our kids, I want them to be punished, and I want them to be punished severely. And that's, I mean, I'll put that out publicly, and that's my stance on it. This did not happen before we received our budget. This was after we received our budget. So I can say that, and if you have any questions for me, I'll try to answer what I can. If I can't, I'm sorry, but I want people to know that I know that y'all want answers, and as soon as we can give them, we will give them. But until the investigation is over, and until the state police is done, and they hand everything over to the grand jury, hopefully next month. I wish it would be before then, but hopefully they'll be done with it. But as soon as all that's up, we will give you any of the information that we can legally. But until then, that's why we've been quiet. So, thank you.
So you're saying this only started, it did not
Ms.
start in
Harper.
March?
Ma'am?
You're saying?
Ms. Harper,
Yes.
anybody else here for public comment?
I want to share with you all here tonight kind of what I...
State your name and where you're from,
Randy
please.
Cox. Where I'm from. What'd you say?
Your name and where you're from.
Randy Cox, Jonesville, Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm not going to read the whole speech that I done at the school board meeting the other night, but I'm glad Mr. Bondurant got up here and spoke, and yes, we all understand that you can't lay out there what you know and what's going on. But there are some things that board could answer. A lot they could answer. Number one is why ain't there accountability in the high school? So let me bring y'all up to part in case you didn't hear my speech. I'm only going to highlight a few things that went on, okay? Now, the money total could be an estimate, $150,000. It's probably greater than that. And I'm right there with them. Hey, they need to go to prison for a long time. It's the money they stole. But here's the things that were brought up in the meeting. County policy requires statements to be reviewed the 10th of every month, 30 to 40 minutes of work. The administrators didn't review a single bank statement from February to June. Now let that sink in your head there just for a second. February to June, where the money was stolen, no bank statement was reconciled. None. Okay? Bank statements from March, April, May, and June were never even done. Never checked, administrators never done anything, never turned anything into the central office. Nobody did nothing to a bank statement from March to June while the money was getting stolen. There were 0 deposits made in the school's account from March, April, May, and June. Some February deposits were made, but there are a couple basketball games missing. Now here's a question you need to ask, or that I asked at the meeting. Of course, you don't get this transparency talking back like you get here. Maybe they need to pay attention to what's going on here. Every administrator who failed to do their job is still in the same position. 18. Now here's the kicker. The bank called and reported 19 fraudulent checks. Somebody duplicated the check at the high school and reported it to the high school. Even with that, the March bank statement was still not done. I mean, it's crazy when you sit back and look at what was going on and what wasn't done. No wonder you can steal money if nobody's going to check behind you. How many of us in here do you go through and never check your bank statement to see where your money's going? You don't do that, right? But, so all we ask the board to do is hold the people accountable. Well, that accountability is nowhere over there. It's nowhere there. And I'm gonna tell you why it ain't there. Because of nepotism. I don't have to tell you what nepotism means, but it is what it is. But I'm telling you this. You don't believe me? Go for the bank statements yourself, and all you need to pull is February to July. That's all you need to pull. When you look at them, you lose your mind. So I just wanted to come here and share that with you all. But as far as holding people accountable, I know they can't speak about what's going on in the case, but the people that are responsible, that should have not let that money go, they can hold them accountable, so they just don't want to. Thank you.
My name is Dana Hobbs. I'm from Jonesboro, Virginia. And I think there's a lot of people not addressing the elephant in the room. I'm sure everybody's seen the videos on the internet of two board members smoking pot and drinking beer. That may be legal, but it's not what our kids need. I think somebody needs to get these people in order. I don't know if you can do it, I don't know who can do it, but somebody needs to. I know I'm gonna have a lot of people, but I don't really care. My daughter graduated a year early away from Lee High because of, well, I'm not supposed to mention names, but a lot of the people there that just treated her terrible. And she's an honor student, but Rob Hines said in the board meeting the other night, if a kid struggled at Lee High, it was either the parents or the child's problem. It wasn't the school or the teachers. That's a pretty bold statement. Somebody needs to be held accountable for a lot of stuff. Thank you.
Nice. Did you make these concerns of yours known to Lee High School with your daughter?
Oh, absolutely.
And?
Well, she's a nice girl. She's makes her look great, but she was in the gym. The kids kept hitting her with a ball, knocking the glasses off. This and another. I talked to Coomer about it. I talked to Shell about it. I talked to the other guy that's assistant principal. Finally, the guy that was assistant principal said, well, we'll pull the videos. I said, well, that's strange. Nobody even said there was video. And Shell said, well, boys will be boys. That's the only response I got. Coomer wouldn't take time to talk to me.
And your daughter's in the vet school right now?
Shoot.
And your daughter's in the vet school right now?
She's in undergraduate. She's wanting to be a big mama's daughter's doctor. She wants to be a veterinarian.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chad Stew. So we in fact have school board members smoking pot?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
I mean, you know, I understand it's legal for the state, but you know, in order for me to work under the federal regulations, I'm not allowed to do that, but we've got people teaching our kids doing that? Who's over them?
Who's over the school board?
Whoever was smoking pot on the school board, who's over top of them?
That's a question for the school board. This man, or superintendent, not up here. Yeah.
Well, you ought to pull some of the funds, can't you, and get them in?
Oh, I've got a lot to say tonight, but yeah, if you're gonna ask specifics off social media, it ain't gonna.
I mean, I didn't know nothing about it. That was the first I heard about it. I just think that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but it ain't gonna be answered here as far as what you're wrong with.
All right.
I will say who I am, Sonny Brooks. And I have a question or one of the statements Mr. Vanador made. We sit here for two sessions, talking about the budget and this, that, and the other. And are you saying that the Lee County School Board did not know any embezzlement was going on while those two meetings were going on?
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute, whoa. Wait a minute, whoa.
Hold up, Mr. Brooks, hang on, address the board, please.
Okay.
We did not know.
There are people in this county that wrote checks in January, February, and March, and did not get their checks returned until after the school board met here and, I guess, I don't know the proper term, ridicule the board for not applying justice to money. And I do not believe that you can stand here and tell me that you did not know that this wasn't going on prior to June, whenever the board met. Somebody tell me, Robbie, when did the board meet those two meetings?
Our last meeting was on the 20th.
There was two of those, 2 weeks in a row. And if anybody believes that statement, the good Lord will come down on top of it and tell you. You knew that was going on.
No, sir.
There's nobody believes that.
I'm Donnie Thunberg, and I wrote this article in the paper, Lee County, attention Lee County taxpayers. On October 4th, 2022, at Lee High School, my niece's daughter, Bethany Rutledge, and several other classmates went to the Lee High School resource officer and reported that their teacher, Ms. Kara Cress, had alcohol in her classroom. Virginia State Police came and removed her from school grounds. The same day, two senior girls, twice her size, beat Bethany up and said it's because she got Mrs. Cress in trouble. The two girls weren't allowed to return to Lee High School or attend any other school activity and were sent to alternative education class. I talked to Sheriff Gary Parsons, and he said him and Fuller Crittens come with the attorney, had agreed, the attorney over to the school board, and he said that she would be given the choice to either resign or be fired. That night, I waited in the hallway with a Kingsport newspaper reporter for them to open the doors, only to be told that Ms. Cress had been escorted out of the side entrance of the school before the meeting had even started. The reporter asked school board members questions after the meeting. The answer was no comment. That seems to be the answer all the time. That's what Rob Hines said the other night there. No comment. No comment. No comment means you're guilty. In juvenile court, the girls were forced to write letters of apology. The judge was from Clintwood, and the principal, Brian Coomer, and his source officer and others were present. One of the girls told the judge that she liked Miss Coomer because she gave them alcohol. The judge laid his head down on his desk. He was in shock. The Lee County School Board members removed Mrs. Cress from teaching and transferred her to the central office for 2 or 3 months and then retired her. You get caught on school property and involving anything with alcohol, and you will be arrested, booked, and taken to jail. But if you're a teacher supplying alcohol to your minor students, it's okay. This is one of the many examples of poor management by the Lee County School Board, and we got a board that's really low. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing no one come forward? Reports and recommendations of the board.
No, we got some new business to take care of on down in here. I do ask that everybody hang around if you don't care.
I myself would like for the county to see what we can do about getting some ambulances back, what it would take to do that, if even possible. Those ambulances was bought with COVID money from the county, and I'd just like to see what it would take to get the ball rolling and see if we could get them back.
You talking about for the town of Phoenix?
Yes.
Any legal advice on it?
Robbie and I have talked about it. Obviously, we can look at it further, but at the time, there were no strings attached to those purchases and then ultimately donations to those entities. Given that there were no strings attached, that's where the problem lies. They were just given. But again, I can dig a little deeper to see if there's anything that we can do, but again, I have talked about this several times.
There was some more items that was bought with COVID money, and they gave it back. Am I right?
It was not the COVID money, no.
But it was county money.
It was county money.
Okay.
And we talked about that, but they're talking about maybe some radios or something.
Yes. My thoughts was if we get one thing back, you know. That's all for me.
I have none.
Well, I just want to say that I did, to address Debbie there, I did vote to give the school system that money. And I was totally unaware that there was that much of abuse of no oversight in what was going on in our high school. And had I known that, I would not have voted to give that money. That board has totally lost my trust with everything that has came to light lately with excessive amount of spending on rental equipment that is not being used and sitting there. They had an opportunity at their past meeting to hold those accountable who was above the person who had taken this money. They chose, some of the board members chose not to. I'm disappointed in that. Mr. Dean, at my public meeting I had at Dryden, apologized to me for the way he acted about an issue about sending mass emails to the teachers to get them to come up here and do a lot of things, say a lot of things to us, and promised me that wouldn't happen again. And a week later, it did.
Whoa, whoa, repeat that, I didn't hear that. I'm a little hard of hearing, I'm 75 years old, but I'd like to hear that again.
If you would move to the front, you can hear me
Okay,
better.
I'll come right up here. Repeat that again, Josh. I didn't hear that.
Last year during some of our budget processes, there was a mass email sent out to a lot of the teachers and staff to get them to come up here and speak against us and do some things. And I confronted Mr. Dean about that, and he apologized, said it wouldn't happen again. That happened during our public meeting and community meeting I had in Dryden. And then a week later, it happened again.
Since you addressed my name, then I feel like I have the right to address you back. You can rescind to make up for it.
You explained.
There was no transparency.
You explained that earlier, ma'am.
Yes, I did, but
Go
he
ahead,
addressed
finish,
me.
Josh.
But I think that it's tough to sit in this position in this chair and try to, I voted twice to raise taxes because, one, we couldn't get around it, and two, it's just a position we was left in, but trying to improve this county, but then we take the heat for all this stuff, and then we find out there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that's being wasted, and they're not there's no one being held accountable who was supposed to be supervising that. If it went on for 6 months and it didn't, no one checked the bank statements, somebody did anything, they're failing our county.
Well, we were just told that nobody knew about it till June. Were we just told that?
Mr. Brooks, let's let Mr. Flannery finish. We give the public an opportunity for expression on it.
And it's my hope that they can rectify all this. But like I said, I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Green, but I will say, if I had that vote to do over again, they wouldn't have got it on mine, because they are not good stewards of the money. Okay.
Well, I'm just gonna add a little bit to what Josh said. You know, it's sad that there is distrust in the county. You know, and I agree that people need to be held accountable. Here on our board, if somebody fails to do their job, they get replaced. Something happens, they get disciplined for it, and that's a fact. I'm old school, so I do believe in that. But then on the other hand, one of the problems we have in this county, there's certain groups of people that just have it out for the school system, regardless if they're doing good or not. And I'm not taking up for them, because right now they got a really bad name as far as things going on. As far as things going on. But we got to remember, they're still educating our children, and you know, I've got a child in St. Charles, or a grandchild in St. Charles. You know, he begs to go to school every day. You know, they're doing something right somewhere. I mean, so we can't just. It's just a shame that it's just a shame that you got a certain groups of people, and we all know who they are, that they've got a problem with the school system. That's where it needs to be addressed. Our problem is, you know, everybody keeps throwing the tax thing up because of the school system. The school system doesn't take all of our taxes. There's a whole lot involved in that tax money. And I guess if somebody take the time to really look it up, across our state, we probably got one of the lowest tax rates in the whole state. So I don't know that there's a whole lot of ground to fuss about, but that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Rand.
All right. Reports, recommendations, county attorney.
I don't have anything.
Reports, recommendations, county administrator.
I will do my best to be brief. I give you a letter from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office on a restitution case totaling $30,275 from DSS. This is money that was recovered by the Commonwealth Attorney's Office through a case for fraudulent expenses. We also got the report back on the circuit court clerk audit. They passed that with flying colors. There were no adverse findings. I think they maybe found one thing last year that had been corrected, so there was absolutely nothing on that audit report. On the airport where we had the lightning strike, repairs are underway, which are mostly completed. I do have a invoice that I've got here for $20,697.38, which is the Fleener security system. That is to fix the gates. That will be reimbursed through the insurance, but you know, the insurance kind of pays you back for that, and I need to go ahead and get this fixed, or we can wait another month to get them done. So I'd like to go ahead and get that fixed when that money's returned fairly quickly if possible. What that is the gate closures that were there were put back in the 90s. Those gate closures aren't there anymore. This is the exact same gate closure, just the newer version that's an exact replacement that the insurance has already approved for us to go ahead and get that replaced if possible. I do, please. It's for Fleener Security Systems, $20,697.38.
I would make that motion.
Second.
A motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I do want to thank the town of Pennington for offering their camera system help to investigate the issues at the library. You're all familiar with the issues we're having at the library, and that's still in an investigation mode of what we're going to have to do. We'll have a little more information just as soon as we get a few more things done, but that's what's going on at the Pennington Library. Water authorities. I am in the process of finding out the status of the water authorities. I know Dryden was redone back in 2019. The water authorities are good for 50 years. We're coming up on, maybe having to redo Woodway, which would require a vote, that sort of thing, so I'll be getting with you with emails here in the next little bit to tell you what has to happen there. We sold the Head Start property back a few months ago. I've been working with the town of Jonesville. I'm waiting on a letter from Mr. Chadwell to finish up something on that. I had sent you all some emails on some of the requirements that were by the purchaser, that there was a variance that was needed for the property because of the setback. I've about got that work to do with the help of Ms. Muncie, thank goodness. But I think we've about got that worked out. There is a bunch, and I mentioned this in the last meeting, a bunch of unclaimed property in St. Charles. I started that process to reclaim those funds from the state on behalf of that. And actually, I've got part of that story I need to get with Ms. Muncie on how to handle a few things, because most of that online stuff that you do is for individuals, not for entities. So I just got to get with her to find out exactly how to get those figured out. And then there's a couple of projects I think we could do in the St. Charles area that actually would benefit that community up there that we could use some of this money for. Let's see. The EDA director has officially moved to the airport. And in that move, I actually was contacted by Mr. Carter wanting to know if they had the opportunity to move to the airport also. An interesting possibility there. You've got Kathy, who is shared by that office and by the EDA, talked about, what we could do about making sure they've got space. They're okay with using the counter that's out there, maybe putting some plexiglass up, that sort of thing. But they have expressed interest in going down there with them, which would keep that group together, and the one secretary that's handling both of those would actually be good. That would also free up some room in the courthouse for some space that the board knows we always need space. And there might be a few logistical problems we'd have to run through as far as getting money back and that sort of thing, but it wouldn't cost an immense amount of money to actually get them a nice working environment down there.
Is there any way, I know we ran into that deal with the telephone system and all, that wasn't gonna work, but could we get their cell phones transferred to the 777
Actually,
number?
I talked to service provider about that. We could do VoIP phones down there with that whole department moving. That would make that a whole lot simpler.
And their numbers would still be the same?
Yeah, we could just move that whole thing and take it off of our system here and do VoIP, and it'd save us some money.
Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah.
Even though I voted against it.
Well, I would need a consensus or something from the board to, if you wanted to.
I'm good with looking into it. I'm not good.
Yeah, I've already looked into it. It's doable, okay? It's kind of according to what kind of budget you all would give me to get that done. Because what I was thinking is we've got that big open room, that terminal there. You could take part of that that's on that one side, make a beautiful office out of that if you wanted to do that. I mean, you wouldn't have to do that. It's just, if you wanted to spend a little money to make that more, I don't know, more feasible for, for each of them to have, at least the building inspector to have his own office and the EDA director to have her own office, and everybody not in a common area. That would be good. But it's really just according to kind of what you all thought they could do. But as far as moving them down there for a real small amount of money, that could be really nice for them. We even thought about the fact that if somebody wanted to come into the courthouse to get a building permit or needed something like that, it's from here to the airport, it's 8 minutes. And by the time that you come here, especially on a court day, and you find a place to park, and you get on the elevator, and you go upstairs and find the office and all that, you're really not costing the public any time to do that. And most of the building permits we're getting right now are from District 1 and 2 anyway, which is would be more centrally located. Just throwing that out there.
Can we get some cost, pretty good roundabout cost figures before we
Yeah, I kind of looked at that. I'm thinking you could probably get some air handling in an area that you would need to maybe construct an office, do a little electrical work, and build what's basically a false wall. Because it's, it doesn't have to be anything, it's just inside. I mean, you're looking at, I would think a big figure would be $10,000-12,000 if we do some of the work ourselves. Because it wouldn't be much to build a wall. The $10,000-12,000 included buying new VoIP phones, switching the system over, having some work. I'd have to get some work done with the AWAS system, that sort of thing, to accept the new service. And we're looking at doing that anyway. Switching all the county over to a different provider, so that it would just expedite that one piece of it. It's not a huge amount.
Before I vote yes on it, I'd have to see some, I want to see some solid numbers.
And I agree with you.
But that is something everybody's open to. I did go over in our last meeting that we had requested some EMS financials from a couple of the EMS agencies. I looked at those from an accounting standpoint. I didn't see anything that looked, odd or didn't seem like that it was fiscally sound. The only thing that I will say to that is we did have the one that spent a lot of money on labor when Pennington was still operating, and they were trying to run 24/7 and spending that money, and was only running, basically 5-6 cops. So that didn't seem warranted to spend that kind of money for that. But other than that, I didn't, it wasn't like there was just willy-nilly spending money. It was basically all in labor. The last thing I've got is we do need to, which is a hot topic tonight, the schools sent a request in to have a hearing about the reappropriation of their carryover funds. That I give everybody a copy of that letter. They're wanting to carry over $5,623,69.56 of the money that's there. So we'll have to schedule a public meeting for that to get that done. And last thing, and I'm done. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware. And I've told you a couple of times. I'm going to be on vacation the week of September the 7th. First vacation I've had in 2 years. So I'm looking forward to it.
And you'll be here once.
Can you back up just a minute, Rob, and clarify that carryover money, what that consists of? Is that state money? Is that federal money? Is that county money? Because you didn't make that clear.
Hang on, I've got a copy of that list.
And I don't want everybody.
Yeah, if Mr. Lee, you make that would
Okay,
make
I
it
just didn't want everybody walking out here saying that's $5 million.
It's all state money in a couple of different pots, all-in money, infrastructure and operations, textbooks, and state direct payments. It's the same thing I think we've done, Mr. Kimball, you probably know, since the first or second year that you were on the board, so the last 8 or 9 or 10 years.
But there's no cost.
So the carryover funds at 4 million, it's 5.6 total, but 4 million goes in the general fund, correct?
You mean the general fund for the county?
The school.
Yes.
To be used in any way you want to use it.
Correct.
Okay. Which is going to lead to a further question. That's why I asked everybody, you got the other line here.
I think that covered it. The only thing I'll say is I'll remind everybody of the fly-in movie, Top Gun Maverick, which will be on September the 6th. Lee Pickers will be there at 7 p.m. There'll be food vendors. The movie will start as soon as it gets dark enough to show. And y'all did vote to let me discount fuel that day, but that's on September the 6th. That's all I have.
Approval of minutes, July 24th, recess meeting, July 15th, regular meeting, June 25th, recess meeting.
Make a motion approved.
I do want to make, real quick, I'm sorry, I did give you an adjustment to a sheet. I found an error in those after I had got them to you, so I give you that new sheet. So if you don't care, since the board packet was really inaccurate on that, if you would make the motion to accept the minutes with that one amendment that I provided to you.
Make a motion to accept the minutes with the one amendment.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Refunds.
Mr. Chair, this is a refund for Enterprise FM Trust. This was for some trucks that we got on our books in the Commissioner of Revenue's office that actually was in Scott County. They actually provided the Commissioner proof that that was in Scott County, and they had actually paid the taxes in Scott County, but they had paid the taxes on that and were requesting a refund for that, which totals $3,426.03.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
The motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Payroll warrants have been issued. Approval of disbursements.
Motion paid.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Supplemental appropriation.
Mr. Chair, I actually give you a change to that supplemental appropriation also. When you do this, I need it done off that new sheet that I gave. It's basically just moving money into the correct bucket that it needs to be.
Make a motion to approve with the changes you made.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. New business, board appointments. Board of Zoning Appeals.
Make a motion to table that one there. I'm still talking to a couple of people about taking that position.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Building Code Appeals,
Motion to table.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Most Pine Office on you.
I still don't have a recommended replacement for that yet, so. you don't
Make a
hear
motion to
something.
table.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Planning Commission resignation.
Did you ever talk?
I've sent a couple of text messages and I just haven't gotten a response.
Okay, motion to table.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who seconded that?
I did.
Southwest Virginia 911 Standards Committee.
Are we gonna put Dale on that?
I would.
Okay, I'll make a motion to put Dale Edwards on that.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Tourism Committee, I make a motion to table that one. Don't
Second.
have people jumping out of the woodworks to get on that one. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next up is forensic audit.
So, we've added this to the agenda for several reasons. Obviously, we've already heard about some of them tonight. When you're elected at any position, school board, I served 8 years there on the school board. We dealt with a lot of different things, with a lot of different superintendents. Some criminal things and some not criminal. Do we do everything right? Absolutely not. I'll be the first to admit it. Are we gonna do everything perfect as a board of supervisors? No, we're not. But one thing we do have to do is be accountable to ourselves, our family, and the community we represent. And the only way, in in my opinion, that we're gonna do that. These two boards moving forward is to have an audit done on this whole county. This whole county. Forensic, financial, whatever we need to dive into. I spent 8 years on the Lee County School Board. I've been up here 2 years. Thankful for the opportunity to serve, but just to be frank with you, I'm about over it. It ain't fun. I don't like to be accused of being a thief, being lied on. We've all had a little bit of that. It's not easy making decisions. Mr. Flannery alluded to some of that. I've been in them shoes. It ain't easy. I know what he's went through. But there's no trust. The community has no trust in either board, just to be honest with you. And it's time we fix it. I think the school system can help pay for that audit. That's one reason why we put this off, talking about funds.
Could we?
If we stop,
I probably, can I go back?
that's not your, yeah.
It wasn't mine?
Okay.
Okay.
So, you know, it's been brought up that the school system is not all the tax base. It's not, but it's dang near 80% of it. It's 80%. Did we do everything right? No. Has this board done everything right? No. Have I voted to put people on administrative leave pending investigation? I have. But in my opinion, that should be what's going on now, but it's not my call. I made a list of a few things I'd like to see on the RFP going out, if approved after tonight. Things we can look at. Some of this is stuff I know is going on. Some of it's been brought to my attention that needs addressed. Not saying any of it's true, or not saying all of it's not true. Misleading carryover fund amount during budget session. We were told that roughly $4 million carryover, and now we're up to 5.6. Allowing 6 digits to disappear at Lee High School. Not informing the board of supervisors during budget sessions. Asking certain administrators to not deposit funds during our last budget session. And again, these are not pointing fingers at nobody in particular. This is concerns that I have along with the public. Not cutting wasteful spending such as overtime. Allowing Lee County Public School vehicles to be used for personal use after hours and weekends. Allowing Lee County Public School equipment to be rented out for personal gain or on weekends. Spending untold amounts of equipment rentals, and I think Mr. Shoemaker's got some receipts he might want to allude to tonight. Untold amounts on equipment rentals that never moved for months. Not following school board policy with social media accounts. I felt some of the sting of that myself. My family got dragged through the mud for no reason whatsoever. And some of the people that was responsible for it sitting here. But moving on. Not following certain procedures pertaining to hiring family members, putting underqualified employees in direct supervision of immediate family. That's a no-no. Keeping administrative positions at high schools and in the central office that SOQ standards does not support. Paying up to $300 per hour for tutoring in unfit and unapproved locations with federal funds. Last but not least, spreading false information about the board of supervisors involved in possible school closures. DSS. We need to look at DSS just as much. And again, anything that's going through this county needs audited. Department of Social Services, employee salary differences, I've heard that's pretty bad. Possible abuse of reporting time that wasn't worked. Huge travel expenses such as the West Coast trips we all have heard about. A large amount of wasteful spending on unused rental property for office space. We paid, we helped pay office space that was never occupied for over a year. Large amount of overspending in annual budgets. And these are just a few of the reasons that I'm making a motion to put out RFP for a countywide audit. So this is still up for discussion. I would like to add or read one thing that a dear lady, older lady that I go to church with and that sent me. She said, serving on the school board or the board of supervisors is not just about budgets and policies. It's about setting a moral and professional standard. Public intoxication and drug use are incompatible with the duties of this office. And I'll leave it at that.
I'll second your motion for an audit, but I'd like to amend it that the school board have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I don't think they got enough money. They got 4 million carryover. Oh, yeah, they pay more than that.
Got a motion to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes.
That being voted on, I would like a letter drafted to the school board asking for 50-50 split.
On the cost of that?
Yes. Obviously, it's gonna have some details, we will release it to the public, but it needs to be an outside entity that has no contact with Lee County and never has. I don't care if they're from California.
That, there's money that's
Joint account?
That's in a joint account.
So we do have a joint account with the school board. There's $500,000 in it, nobody don't know. When I was on the school board, that could be used for capital improvements. We could pay for this out of that, or we could pay for it with carryover money, but I would not care one bit to pay for it with that joint account.
So you want me to ask for that in a letter?
Sure, yes.
That would be a 50-50 split, right?
The way I see it, yes.
Yeah. And I do want to say, the county and the school system and DSS, they actually have an audit every year. It's just not to the level of a forensic audit. It's just, so everybody here knows, I'm not downplaying. It's just, there is an audit every year that's done and that sort of thing, but it's not to the tune of a forensic audit, which is what he's asking.
I think the audit you're talking about would say, yes, there was $221,000 worth of equipment rented for the school system, but it's gonna say, where was this used at, how many months did it sit out? You know, we asked about that back during the budget, about $130-some thousand, and was told that that number wasn't correct, but, I mean, I'm sitting right here looking at it and more, so.
Can you share that with us?
It's public record.
Right now, share it with us.
Is that the excavator that was sitting down there?
Yes. Yes,
Share what you're talking about.
Well, there was some concerns brought up about how much rental equipment was out there and what was being paid for. Mr. Shoemaker had a figure and I had a figure. He threw his figure out to Mr. Dean. I threw my figure out and Mr. Dean came back and said my figure was more closer to being right, and I asked him if the juice was worth the squeeze on all that money for the equipment sitting there, and he said, no, probably not. In that we have a figure that was higher than.
So it was set there and never used.
What used a whole lot from what we've been told. So. Fairview water line extension project.
Mr. Chair, you'll find in your packet, there's a bunch of documents in there that Ron Turner gave me on this water line project. I want to One of the great ones over at Lynn Wisco. I do have a resolution that allows me to complete the paperwork for this, but because I just got this information the other day, I thought it would probably be fair to bring it to the board and let them just, hang on a second. It would be fair to get this information in front of you to see kind of what I was doing with this. I do already have the authority that you granted me to sign this paperwork. I just wanted you to take a look at this. This is going to be a good project, the funding that they're asking for, and there is a resolution that I need you to vote for, which is 25016, that we have applied for a grant of up to $720,000. There is a proposal for $480 that to be used through this CDBG grant that I do need a vote on. And the rest of it, if you'd like to add on that I can sign all the paperwork that's required to work through this grant, that would be excellent if you wouldn't care to do that.
Motion to approve. Second. 25-016.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Community Service Board Performance Contract.
Yeah, this is a yearly contract with the Community Services Performance Board. There's a resolution that goes along with this. It's to approve the biennial planning district 1 behavioral health services for actually what goes through the 26-27 year. I sent you an email in late July. It was a huge document and sent it through there. If you'll look at the next page, there's a resolution for that. Didn't catch it. It actually says adopted this 19th day of July, and it's actually August. I fixed that for the one that you would need to sign. But I would like to get approval to get this resolution done for the Community Services Board contract.
Make a motion to approve resolution 25-011.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Hey, can I just bring up one thing? Because I feel like I was asked a question on the way in tonight, but I couldn't answer the question. But it gets back to the forensic audit. There was nothing in my...
I didn't have any real information.
I just want to clarify for the person that asked me the question, because I had no way of telling even what it was, because I had no idea what.
Yeah, these things.
There should have been some clarification, I would think.
There should have been. I got that. I was requested to get that in new business, so we didn't have to do some kind of amendment to talk about it. But I didn't have any information when the board packet was published to stick in there. So that was the reason I didn't really put anything in.
Well, I just hope the person would ask me the question still in here, so that they know I wasn't telling them the figure, but I had no clue what it was. But just to clarify that, I'm good.
Are they still here? If anybody's got any questions about that, we can cover it. Okay. I apologize, but I didn't have a whole lot of information at the time, so I just had to kind of fly with what I had.
Bristol Transportation District Regional Improvement Committee distribution.
Yeah, actually, E and I on your agenda can go together. Each year, the Bristol Transportation District Regional Improvement Committee receives funds from the casino project. Actually didn't know exactly how much that was going to be. We were estimating it to be around $800,000. It actually came in this year at $941,860. So this casino had a good year. For those of you that are here, we don't get money from the hotel, any of that. This is all casino funds.
It was $941,000 what?
$941,860. And so each year, this commission requires each locality to verify that the funds that they said they were going to use it for actually did. So there's a letter behind that that says, that we used that. Actually 100% for funding education. That was what we voted on to do last year, and that's how we set it out. This year, though, for the resolution for this fiscal year for that money, because we did increase funding to EMS and that sort of thing, and I think, people have been asking, are we spending this money on EMS? So There is a resolution there, it's 25-12, that is a resolution that basically says, now therefore be it resolved by the Lee County Board of Supervisors that it hereby plans to use $470,000 of these funds for fire and EMS funding, with the remainder of its portion of the 2024 Regional Improvement Commission funds to be in education in Lee County. So that basically kind of splits that money in half. So half of it would be used for EMS, half the rest of it being used for the schools. Now, we can change that if you would like to do something different.
So how much did we budget for? I can't remember that line item for what we thought we were getting from there.
800.
So we're 100 over, basically. We need that 100 in EMS, I'm about positive.
Yes, we do.
Well, we can reappropriate that money when we need to.
Okay.
Okay? That is not a problem. So we kind of do have that. But basically, the way that this reads, because of the way the budget was put together for this fiscal year, the board budgeted $470,000. So actually 300 of that was rescue squad, 170 for fire. So that was where I come up with that figure. That does not include for life or whatever, that's a whole different pot.
Does that include what was taken, we took out of that during the last budget?
That's the total.
Okay.
So I do need some action as far as on resolution 2512, if you'd like to leave it as is. That references basically splitting it in half with the EMS, fire, and the school system, and the authorization just to send a letter that says, yes, we did use that money last year for that.
I'll make the motion.
It's that EMS, I guess that would also include sheriff's department too.
I did not include that in the sheriff's department. I mean, we could.
But we could use it for
Public safety.
Public safety or public education, I think it's the two categories we can do it for. Motion made.
Got a motion, second? I second. All in favor? Opposed?
Last year, for the record, what was all that money used for?
Schools.
Henry Sheen settlement agreement. I guess I said that right.
I actually received this from Ms. Muncie. I don't know if she wanted to talk about this or not. I did send this to you all to get a,
Hey, don't call me. I didn't mean.
there were two settlement agreements that are out there. One is a Henry Sheen settlement. The next one, actually G, is the next one, which is a resolution to participate, yeah. I had to read this real quick, but anyway, I do need action from the board to participate in the settlement agreement, and then whatever this second one, which we have to do a resolution for, which is 25-14, to participate.
To participate, yeah, and that's not saying that Lee County gets that $450,000, that's the total. Lee County gets a very small portion, but we obviously want our portion, no matter how small it is. And both of these are just to approve resolutions to authorize our participation in those settlements.
So it's kind of like those late night TV lawsuit things with Jesse Ophelia where you get the 3 cents after it's all said and done.
Kind of, it's a little more than 3 cents, but yes, obviously we want our portion.
I think that Lee County's portion of that is .533. I think I can see that on a piece of paper.
It was
533 is that.
included in the original. I don't know if it's in this, but yes, our exact portion was included in the percent as far as the percentage of it. So it's a little more than 3 cents. But
I'll make a
again,
motion to
it's in order for us to get our piece of the pie.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed?
Ms. Muncie, do we need action on the settlement agreement too, separate, or can that be done together?
I would do them separate since they are separate settlements.
I make the motion to participate in the opioid settlement.
Second.
Lawsuit. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And it is adopting that resolution, the second one, resolution 25-14.
Yes. Additional expenses.
There were some expenses that we got, that came in that we weren't able to get into the board packet. That is what this is, it's recapped on that first page. You have the bill from Commonwealth Real Estate, which will mostly finish up the audit. There might be a little bit of striker money left out there, but not a whole lot. There is the local commitment for the health department, which is $256,000. And I will say that I got a letter from them that we are actually going to get a refund from the health department this year for last year's money that totals $53,845.41. So they have, I've only been here a couple of years, that's the second year in a row that they've actually spent less money than what we thought they were going to and give us a refund. So, which was good. There's also the Lenawisco Planning District Commission semi-annual invoice for $20,939 and waste management bill. That's, I think that's, yeah, that is all of it. But I just, because I wasn't able to get this in the normal board packet, when she put all that stuff together and what was kind of already made, we just stuck it in there separate and to get it done. So I need some action to get that one.
Can that return money go toward working on the roof for down there?
Yeah, it comes back to the general fund, so I mean, we can send that out.
Is there has there been a dollar amount on that roof of that thing yet?
I had a company come and look at it, and they told me they weren't interested in it. I had another company come and look at it after that, and I've not heard back from them.
So it's not sounding good then?
No, it is not fun. No, I don't know. It's, the roof that we're talking about is not huge, so it's not this big project where they can come in and do, I mean, honestly, it's that Pizza Hut side kind of roof built, that's there, and it just has those air conditioning units on it. But I will say that just getting the units set off of the building and put back on is a $4,000 cost.
Rent of a crane or whatever. Well, I mean, is that too big a job to be and try to get some of our local people to?
I'm trying.
So you just need a motion to accept the money, right?
For the refund?
Refund.
I do need a motion to accept the refund, and then I just need a motion to get these extra bills paid. Yeah, I need to do that separate.
I'd like a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Then you need a motion to accept
The refund, yes.
All right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Got a motion and second to accept the refund from the health department, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And we actually covered with that.
Yeah.
And this was a big packet, guys, I'm sorry, but there was a whole lot went on those last 30 days. So,
I'd like to clarify one thing, but the funds I was talking about that I voted for and that I wish I hadn't now is the extra funds that they have only received twice this past year. This being the second time that they've received those extra funds from the state. It took extra taxpayer money to appropriate. So it's only 2 times the school system has ever received these funds. Not that they always, all for the regular budget, they have to. Minimum required local effort was all about that, but not the extra funds they only received for the second time. Ready? Before we go into this session? Make a motion to go into closed session for under 2.2-3711A6, investing of public funds.
Second. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.